If you're looking for professional day trading education and high-level trade analysis and dissection, you, my friends, have come to the right place. My name is Pat Mitchell. I've been a professional day trader for the past 11 years, and I'm here to bring you exactly that, professional day trading education, all here for free on YouTube and on X. And today we are going to be discussing tight ranges and basically how to trade them, and then stalking your prey for the outer ranges, the outer levels that will present a better and bigger opportunity. So sit back 1 sec, folks. I hope you guys are having a great evening. 1 sec. I am going to load up my charts and we will rock and roll. Okay, so now that we're into the charts, let's talk about the morning trade. So we opened with a extremely tight gap up, very tight gap up. It basically just barely opened up above the previous close, not quite above Friday's highs, but above the previous close. Now it opened below the previous close and it made it above. And if you follow my cursor, it tested multiple times. That tells me that there are already longs in that position pre-market. So at the very least, generally speaking, the odds would dictate that you will get at least a small bounce there. Okay. And that's what we're looking for. Now, it doesn't need to hold that level perfectly. That's why we work off of risk, right? But both SPY and Qs essentially did the same thing. There are going to be pre-market longs. We have to remember this. People will always protect their positions. When you see this volume, like the actual charts, right? These aren't small positions. Now, granted, pre-market is generally low volume and small positions, but it's still enough that they are starting to taper in at that previous close pre-market, and they're waiting for volume to then come in at the market open to add in. Okay, so that's the premise. That's the idea behind still going long on this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on Qs and on SPY. And what we also need to remember here on SPY is we also had a trend. So let's talk about Qs first. So market opens up, it kind of pops up, and then it washes down. Now, I initially took the trade long coming down into the previous close. It's a very small starter position. What we then had is our risk coming down into pre-market lows. So I'm fine with it breaking that. I'm expecting some sort of breakage, okay? But within the tolerance between the previous close and pre-market lows, we're going to get a bounce, okay? That's what the odds dictate. Now, I'm not saying that happens 100% of the time. Don't get my fucking words twisted. It doesn't. But we deal with odds and probabilities as day traders, okay? So once it comes down and it starts to confirm, it starts to bottom out, that is my last entry. So entered into that and then simply paid myself on the way up. Now let's go over to SPY. SPY, I worked a little bit more. Qs was a one and done on that long. And I locked in on that $2,935. Now, the second trade here that was executed at the exact same time as Q's was the same trade. We're going long. The reason why I was wanting to work SPY is SPY had trend. It had a bottom trend as well. You're very protected in this trade, as well as the pre-market low is a lot closer. So there's less risk, and there's better protection with that support. So I'm going to focus more so on SPY. I was actually fairly quiet on screen share. Today took a lot of focus just to really watch and look for my proper ads and everything else. Don't get me wrong, I'm still guiding all my members live on screen share. But today took and required a lot of focus. It wasn't a difficult day. It just took a little more focus than usual. So same thing on SPY. Market opens up, kind of pisses around, sells off into the previous close. I start in. As it washes down into that pre-market support right here where my cursor is, that's where I add. As it comes back up, I'm patient on it and I pay myself. It then pulls back to remount that previous close. Again, you're going to get a bounce there. You need to add there. And the reason why you're going to get a bounce, I have no idea how big of a bounce. I'm not talking about it coming up a mile. I don't give a shit about that. I'm looking for first reactions, and that is the first reaction into that previous close. I enter, I pay myself. Now, as it comes back down, I do the same thing. I give it one less small little ad right here there, because that was into trend now. So you want it to come. Let me draw this out for you guys. Because what you want when it first fails, pops back up, remounts. Now you want it to pull back and hold trend. So it is pre-market lows, so support levels, right? That it's remounting. So pre-market lows, previous close, trend. So entered, paid myself, and I was holding small. And then you see me simply just edge out of my position. I'm no longer interested. It's starting to fail. I'm out. Now it did hold this, but that's okay. At that time, there is another opportunity that I am now looking ahead for. So let's talk about this, because this was the big trade for today. So on that trade, I also locked in about $2,900. So the morning was really, really good. And the one thing that I want to point out, usually I don't continue to trade, but I'll tell you what, nor do I take trades around 12:30 or even into 10:30. But what I was noticing this morning is how clean this market truly was. So then I focused up on Qs yet again, and I let it hold. And because it struggled so much, and every time it broke, you see here, so I need my drawing tool. You see the high here? See how it barely breaks and then sells off? Same here, barely breaks, sells off. Here, barely breaks, comes down, comes back up. So I start working that short position into pre-market highs right here, because I know I'm going to get a sell-off. It will continue to replicate that same action over and over and over again. Once you have measured moves, what I call measured moves, a certain amount of distance up followed by a certain amount of distance down, it will continue to trade like that until it finally falls apart or rips up. Okay. The way this is trading, it's not telling me in the morning that it's going to squeeze. It'll take a little bit of a catalyst. Either some numbers coming out, Trump was going to be speaking, whatever it is, then it'll squeeze. So that first trade here executed, actually, I executed here into pre-market highs, paid myself, pops back up a little bit, and worked that trade, because now I'm looking for a bigger sell-off. So locked in a pretty substantial trade on this. And then I had some work to do outside. I'm growing some ginger and turmeric, and it's starting to get overrun by the jungle. So I had to rake it all up and everything else. So just enough time to come back and let this thing set up. Now, if you take a look, Qs doesn't have any more resistance up here. There's no more resistance. Its last line of defense is right here after hours from yesterday. But I want to continue trading Qs because I've been really watching and focusing on Qs in the later morning session. So what you can do, even though there is not a proper or technical resistance area, there's no resistance there, okay? Where SPY is coming up into its technical resistance with distance and speed. When we tap out, when we come into that level, that's where I executed. I don't care if it pushed up a little bit higher. And then I worked this bitch. The way it finally popped off like that, what I was looking for, let me clean all this up, guys. Sorry. My first major where I didn't pay myself at all until here. Second was here. So I'm capturing from highs all the way down with a forceful trade. And then I was holding small for my target of the previous close. I ended up getting it. Absolutely fantastic day, locking in $16,024 on that. So an absolutely fantastic day, fantastic morning. This is what I can teach you guys to do. This is what I teach. I don't hold anything back. There's a lot of services that will not tell you everything. Inside the walls of Tricktrades, I mean, for fuck's sakes, even on my recaps, on my videos on YouTube, I share a lot of information that a lot of people are not going to be willing to share because they fucking worked for it, just like I worked for it. I want you guys, the ones that may not be able to join, to at least have a chance. If you are able to financially, and you should if you're trading, or else it's going to add stress, but whatever. If you're able to, sign up at tricktrades.com. Work with a coach that can actually get you there. And if not, you can enjoy the free stuff. You do have to like and you do have to subscribe. I believe that's only fair. It is going to take you longer though. Absolutely, because you have to piece these videos together instead of coming in with a direct, focused blueprint to success. Straight up. Okay, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Adios.